Hi there, welcome to Real Sales Dynamics, where we break down in-field sales footage in order to get you better at door knocking. So in this video, I'm actually going to be explaining exactly how much I made on my best week ever, but you're going to have to stay tuned for that portion. Today, we're talking about commissions, namely how much money you can make in the solar industry in 2024. It's the number one question that we end up in the comment section, but in order to understand it, we'll talk about commissions in a second here, you have to understand why we make so much money. Now, the truth is, you are paid in direct proportion to the problems you're capable of solving. So I've been in the solar industry for roughly about 8 years at this point, trained hundreds of reps in person, tens of thousands of reps in the industry online, as you're seeing right now. And one of the biggest things that we're trying to really capture, not only on this channel, but in my career as a whole, is transparent ways in order to be able to sell people, win those people over, not through manipulation, but by redirecting their beliefs so that their lives are going to be better as a result, not only for the consumer, but as the salesperson as a whole. So stay tuned, because there's going to be an Easter egg in the middle of the video that tells you exactly the pitch that I use that helps us make so much money. So there's two huge misconceptions when it comes to solar. One of them is that solar is a scam. I'm going to address that right now. It is, in fact, true that if the utilities buy back the power from your solar systems, which most utility companies in the country do, that if you place solar on your home, it can eliminate your utility bill and you can actually make money off of those solar panels. And there's options all over the entire country where people can do that with no money out of pocket whatsoever, either by leasing it, power purchase agreement, or a number of other financial opportunities that will help them do that. Second one is that people can't be making this amount of money. Now, there's two types of people in this industry, right? The people who make money and the people who don't. The type of people who make a lot of money in this industry are resourceful. They're constantly looking up online on new ways in order to be able to sell the product. They're going to be incredibly educated in this field. It doesn't mean that they went to school for it. In fact, a lot of these guys don't even have GEDs. But what they are is resourceful and driven, right? They do not take no for an answer, not only from customers, but in their own lives. These are not people who are seeking out the 9-to-5 grind in their life. They see that as the prison that it is. Instead, they want to step outside their car, and step into someone's house. And in order to be able to do that on a consistent basis, not only do you need to be resourceful, driven, but you're going to need to be coachable as well. Leave your ego outside the door. There are people who are making insurmountable amounts of money in this industry that you would not expect. So always be searching to learn more. Then there's the people who make absolutely no money in this industry. Those people use any single excuse to not work, blame every single problem they have on an external source besides themselves, never take any responsibility in their life, and are just hoping that one day they run into that nice little easy lay down sale, but aren't doing any of the door reps to even know what to do when that easy sale shows up. So in order to understand how much money you can actually make in the solar industry, we need to understand how you get paid in the solar industry. So in order to make a lot of money in this industry, you have to find first generation products in order to sell. What do I mean by that? Well, cell phones in the 1980s. Remember those big briefcase cell phones that were going for $3,000 to $5,000? Did you know the actual price of those cell phones? About 50 bucks. The thing is, imagine this orange, for instance. This orange I purchased for $1. Now, whenever I go to sell this orange, I'm going to go ahead and sell it for $2. What happens? I just made $1 profit. It's the exact same thing when it comes to red lines in the solar industry. You have a certain red line that you can sell your system at. Every single dollar that you sell it above it, you make that commission. The customer benefits because you're cutting out all delivery charges, meaning that they're going to spend significantly less money for their electricity in comparison to utilities. And obviously the rep benefits as well, because now you're using his product instead of someone else's. Here's the thing. Maybe your customer doesn't want this orange. Maybe instead they want waffle spray. Why? You have no idea. But the benefit here is that if you're working for a broker company where you can sell multiple different finance options, multiple different types of panels, and sell to multiple different types of clients, that means you're going to be in a primed position rather than a person who just can sell oranges to customers. And this is the difference between signing an exclusivity contract as a sales representative or sales company and having a brokerage. So let's say you sign an exclusivity contract with a solar installer that only has oranges. But the problem is you end up talking to a customer who has sticky waffles, right? So they need waffle stick spray. But because you signed that contract, the only juicy thing that you could sell them is vitamin C. They don't need it. They have enough oranges as a whole. So what occurs? You don't sell the orange. You don't sell the waffle spray. You don't sell anything. The customer gets screwed over. You make no money. So what do you need to do as a whole? is work for a brokerage company, meaning that you can sell waffle spray to the customer, or you can try to convince them that vitamin C is better for them than waffle spray. And you're nimble with all of the options that you have. You can make more money, make sure that you're able to install projects significantly quicker, and always be the top person in the solar industry as a whole. Why am I stating this? Because I used to work for a big box solar company that only had one installer. And while my buddies were able to install projects in 2, 3, or 4 weeks, I was waiting 2, 3, or 4 months and making half the amount of money, getting a tiny percentage of my orange when I could have been selling all of this and making millions. And this is also why it's important, as there becomes more mass adoption of solar as a whole in the industry and in the country as a whole, that you're working with reliable installers who are using good products that are going to be able to keep your name clean, because the only thing that you have is your name. So if you're convincing people to install dirty jobs, you're going to have a dirty name and not make a lot of money as a whole. Now, let's talk about how much these reps are actually making. In certain areas of the country, the average installation is paying out about $11,600 per project done. And this ends up being a net benefit to consumers, because unless you have the best salespeople in the world, no one's going to actually sell this product. We're talking about 25-year, $50,000 to $100,000 contracts. People who are great at this job are not going to take $50 an hour to do that. They're going to jump into another industry. So if there's going to be this huge government mandate push to try to get more solar as a whole into the entire country, unless we want the government doing a completely horrendous job doing it, we're going to need to get people to do this of their own free choice. How do we do that? We redirect their beliefs as a whole, not only regarding the utilities, but solar. You're going to make a lot of money in, and they are going to save a lot of money out. Now, let's actually break down how much door-to-door salesmen are making. Well, before I tell you the amount of the commissions, just know that customers save about 10 times more on their electricity bill than reps make per deal. About $11,600 as a whole on most projects. Now, when we sell these deals, in certain cases, in certain markets, it can take 3 to 5 months before a job is actually installed. We have to carry it through site inspection, final design, HOAs, permitting, which can be a nightmare depending on the place you're at. And with certain finance companies, you're not even paid until the system's turned on. As a result of this, there's a huge amount of risk that the rep is taking, a faith, if you will, that they're going to end up getting paid at the end of the day. And if you're not working with a reliable, consistent sales team and installation department, you can end up making $0 instead of $1 million. Jumping into solar right now is like jumping into Bitcoin 4 years ago. We're talking $2,000. And now we're streamlining up to 68 to hopefully 100K by the end of the year, right? The thing is that the people who made a lot of money in Bitcoin were the people who invested early on. They saw the biggest upsides possible, and that's the time to delve in right now. Once solar becomes a second generation or third generation sales product like cell phones, you're going to end up being an hourly wage guy working at Verizon, and who wants to be that? I've seen people from all around the world and all kinds of backgrounds who've actually done tremendously well in this job, from barbers to literal Uber drivers to former car salesmen and mortgage guys. The type of people who do well have nothing to do with the education behind them. It has everything with the education they're trying to attain, with how quickly they can use information and then execute with that. Talking 18-year-old kids who are now making $300,000 to $400,000 a year, or dads who decided to switch out of car sales in their late 40s, jumped into solar because he saw the greatness of the opportunity, but didn't have a bunch of pride behind them so they could actually learn new ways of being able to sell people. Now, personally, I actually went to school and got my master's in social work, right? Which helped me out about this smidge when it came to doing door sales. I learned more about social work by knocking in low-income areas in San Diego, California than I ever got from spending literally over $100,000 on my education. And instead of spending $100,000 on my education, I just made $93,000 last week in solar sales. Now, when it comes to actually getting good, there's a couple guys out there who are going to get quick sales as soon as they start up, but that's honestly not the norm. And in a lot of the cases, the guys who jump into being really good immediately end up on a solar coaster where they go from 4 sales to 2 to 0. The types of guys who do really well are actually the types of guys who kind of had it hard in the beginning. Right? In my personal case, my first month I did 1 sale. My second month I did about 3. Now in my case, I didn't take off any Sundays for literally 3 months. In my third month, I finally catched on, realized how tremendous this opportunity is, and then every single thing just started linking together. I ended up doing 29 sales in my third month. I did about 15 sales in just 1 week in that month. Now, is that going to be normal for everyone? Absolutely not. But in this industry, you can literally have 20 sales a year and still be able to afford 2 cars and a mortgage. In life, you can either sell your time or sell a product. With a 9-to-5 job, you can never actually get ahead because there's only so many hours in a day. But when you're selling a product, you can make $100,000 in just a couple days with just a couple hours. The only way you're going to be able to use that, the only way you're going to be able to do that properly, though, is by working with institutions and with organizations that give you the proper tools in order to be able to execute. If all of your instruments are blunt, you're not going to be able to cut through any of the actual chaff. So it's important and integral that when you're jumping into the solar industry, that you're choosing your companies wisely, and we do have an entire video on that. If you are struggling in the solar industry as a whole, it's all right, we got you. Join the email list below, and we'll be sending you unlisted training videos, not only on your pitch, but as the close as a whole, that's gonna help you make significantly more money. But honestly, guys, if you're working for a company where the only training that you're getting is from watching our videos, you might want to click the submission form below so you can join the Pacific United Power Army. Thanks for watching. Make sure to click subscribe below so you can learn more about the solar industry as a whole. Click the submission form below so you can learn more about this wealth creating opportunity. Most importantly, it's like one of these 2 videos, YouTube thinks you're going to like it a lot.